Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Sorry about the delay in between races. Had some dental work done and I was under quite a bit of pain for the last few days, so finally starting able to break it, feeling a lot better. So getting out here to run a ARCA Series race here at Kentucky Speedway. This is the Legacy version, so I ran the Xfinity race at Kentucky a few weeks ago. But this is the first time I've actually gotten to run on the Legacy version, which is the original scan, where the apron was a little bit smaller, especially on pit exit I noticed it. So we'll see how we do. Pretty weak strength of field. I actually ended up running one of these before and was trying something out with some settings for recording, so didn't want to show that one. So it didn't actually end up getting a qualifying lap start in the back. Not actually a bad move overall, so wish I would have recorded that one. But first lap tends to be a bit slower for me, not the best run. We're going to hope that we cross the line in enough time to get the second lap in. Doesn't look like we are. Probably going to be starting somewhere mid-pack, I would guess. 6:37 is not great, but try to dig all I can out of this. Fourth right now, which is not the worst spot to be. Like I said, it's a pretty weak strength of field, so wish I would have gotten on the track just a little bit sooner. Could have gotten the second lap in, because you can see how much faster it is. Although, I guess difference between probably like second and fourth is not going to be absolutely massive. So, biggest thing, like as all ARCA races, is going to be tire saving, which wasn't terrible. Yeah, I guess we probably would only bumped up to third. So 1 and 2 are pretty fast. I'm not sure if the 9's going to be that quick, or if he's going to end up
some of these guys can put these ARCA cars to the test, but
burning up tires, but we'll see. I will show you what I'm running. I am actually running 12 to 1 on the ratio, minus 11 on the offset, and the brake bias all the way back, and I will be moving the brakes through the race as well. I don't touch them very much, but if I move them back, it just kind of keeps me in a consistent feel. So I'll do it probably.
Well, good luck to you. Just be
turn the chat down. Sorry. A lot of talking that I don't want to hear.
Yeah, these cold tires really play a part.
Probably I'll move the brakes back every 10 laps or so, roughly, give or take.
Yes, they
just
are.
try to somewhat hang up with everybody towards the front, and then, you know, hopefully have enough tire that later on in the race can push it. Car number 4, there's 22, but it's like I said, a really weak field. So if I can keep myself in the top 5, I'll be happy. Obviously, starting 4th, I wouldn't really like to finish much further behind that, but just going to do what I can. If I drop back a few spots off the start because other people want to run aggressive, I'm fine with that. I know if they burn their tires up, I'll have plenty of speed to pick the positions back off later on, and
I've been doing pretty good in the lower split.
Just gotta try to make the most of this. Like I said, it's a really weak strength of field, so finishing in the front is going to be pretty imperative to maintain the I rating. But these races, at least the one I ran before, and from what I've heard from other people, they've actually been really clean. So it's a lot of fun to run a 35 lap, a mile and a half, you know, tire saving ARCA typical, you know, thing. And I feel like I'm not quite to the top level with it, but I feel like I've learned how to drive these a little bit better, both in terms of the tire saving and picking up the pace. So hopefully I don't suck and you know, lose what I'm telling you guys that I thought I've learned how to do. So we'll see. But it should be fun either way.
1600 I rating.
See how this goes. I'm really tired of hearing everybody talk.
I'm trying to get my face
Hold position behind. After you.
But we'll see what we can do. Like I said, 9
Yeah, 10-4.
probably could be faster than what his I rating suggests. Just I will be curious to see if he's actually gonna be that fast, or if he's going to end up overdriving off the start and burning up tires. Same thing with the 20 behind me. There was a few people in the last race that definitely pushed it pretty hard at the front of the race and then fell off really bad. It was, you know, typical stuff. I did it quite a bit too when I was first learning, and you know, even within probably since the start of the season, I would do it where I would just way overdrive the beginning of the race, and tires fall off, you got no grip on the right front, and you just end up falling back. So gonna be okay with just kind of sitting behind the 1 and the 2 if I'm able to get by the 9, or you know, if the 9's going that fast, I'll sit behind him. We'll see if the 3 and the 5 were lined up on the inside row in 5th and 7th if they're going to want to push hard. I don't know. We'll just kind of feel it out and gauge everybody and go from there. So I'm going to get ready to go. Leaders off. 2 didn't get a great jump. I think he did that to try to slide down in front of the 9, which I'm going to do as well. Get up through the gears in the 4th gear, and now it's time to just start driving the thing. Been learning how to try to use the throttle through 1 and 2 to kind of help the car rotate and drive it off the right rear, save some wear off the right front. So we'll see if I can actually put that into practice. But not a bad start of the race at all. Slotted out in 3rd, got a good gap back to the 9. Not sure if he's going to be holding people up, if they're going to start charging back up, but we got a lap in and it's clean and everything's looking good so far. Take it a little bit easier off the start. We're still on the cold tires. I don't want to slide them too much at all. Don't want to be leaning too much on them and stress anything out. The more I can take care of them now, better off they're going to treat me and more speed later on in the race. Mine looks like he's got an issue. He spins down triangle. Spins around. Looks like nobody else gets collected in it, but unfortunate for him. 20's still running in 5th place, so he picks up a spot with that where he started. Gives us a little bit of a bigger gap back to the 3. It was like 0.9 to the 9, and now it's like 1.1. So see if those guys are going to have the pace to catch back up, if they're going to just choose to kind of save and see if they can make it up later on in the run, or what they're going to do. Like I said, I don't really feel the need to try to push now and get to the lead. As long as the 1 doesn't pull away too much from the 2, then I'm perfectly fine just kind of sitting back here and riding. You can see I gave a little bit of time to the 2, that time through 1 and 2, but you know, if I could stay within half a second to 3/4 of a second, you know, 7, 8, 10, something like that, that'll be good enough for me. Biggest thing again is just to stay close enough that I can try to take advantage of tires if I do happen to have a little more than them, without having too much of a gap to make up later on. But certainly do not want to abuse the tires now, trying to stay with them and then really not be able to get to them by the end of the race. So just gonna kind of keep it status quo for now, clicking off clean laps. Actually pulling away from the 3, so that scares me a little bit. We might be pushing it a bit harder than we need to, but just gonna keep doing what I've been doing in practice. I kind of felt like I learned how to do not a very good 1 and 2 that lap. 3 and 4 wasn't quite as bad, so try to get on the brakes just a little bit earlier into 1 to help settle the car a little bit more. It's like this lap's gonna be about the same, be a little bit slower, but I'll take it. It's not quite as much tire fall off here as you would have at like a Atlanta or Darlington in these cars or anything, but there's still a little bit to be had. Just ever so slight tap there on the outside wall coming out of 4.
32.80.
1 and 2 are starting to pull away, but feeling like they might be pushing a bit harder than they need to, because I'm still pulling away from the 3. 20 is falling quite a bit back. I did not see what happened to him, so we can take a look at that after the race. No, I wouldn't be completely surprised if he got into some sort of self-inflicted trouble, but I don't know. The fact that I'm pulling away from the 3 makes me wonder if the 1 and the 3 are actually, or the 1 and the 2 are actually pushing a bit too hard right now. So I'm just gonna kind of keep in this spot where I'm just running about 90% or so. Like I said, probably start backing the braking points up a little bit, even though, you know, we're only getting ready to complete lap 8. And kind of feel it off, see what we can do. There's about a second gap between the 3 and the 12, so even if the 3 was to get here and get by me, I'm not too worried. But you know, feeling pretty good about keeping myself in 3rd right now. Overdrove that corner a little bit, didn't get quite as low as I'd like. We'll deal with it. Like I said, the 1 and the 2 are pulling away, but potentially if they get into a battle with each other, You can see a little bit of tire wear out of that. Could slow them down a little bit. Like I said, they might honestly be pushing a lot harder, or it could just be showing their ratings and be that much faster. So it's like the 3's pulling away ever so slightly from the 5 and the 12 are running side by side, you can see. So longer they continue to do that, the more the 3 is going to pull away, and the 3 is slowly starting to catch me. Although, like I said, I don't feel like I'm driving this quite as hard as I could be. I think I've backed it off a little bit, so if I feel like I need to start picking it back up, both to stay ahead of the 3 as well as to try to close back up on the 1 and the 2, I will, but I'm kind of okay with it. I know I've let them get a lot further away than I wanted to. I think this is still the right move. I move the brake bias back a little bit now just to kind of maintain that consistent feeling. And try to drive the car off the right rear, get it to rotate 3 with a little bit of a blink behind us. Have to keep an eye on that if he gets closer to us. Use very light brake pressure in both ends of the track, but use slightly more going into 1 and 2 than I do going into 3 and 4. Starting lap 12, so we'll be approaching a third of the race done after this lap. For some reason, I don't know why, I just feel like these races this week, or here, at least the one I ran, it goes a lot faster than other races at 1.5 miles, even though the laps are usually 35 laps, and lap times are fairly close most of the time. For whatever reason, it just feels like it's going a lot faster in this one, so I don't know what's up, but hey, it's all good. 3's closing in, gap's down to 1 second now.
Okay, Jake. Lap times are pretty
Not a big deal though. Like I said, I feel like maybe I'll have a little bit more in the tank than the 1 and the 2 later on in the run. They're going to get to side-by-side battling, which could potentially allow us to close up a little bit. Just trying to drive for the last 5 to 10 laps instead of the first, 15. 2 gets by the 1. The 1 kind of recognized it might have been a bit smarter to let him by, and now he's just going to follow in behind him. 3 gains a 10th on us, but we still got a nice gap back between the 3 and the 5. So like I said, even if the 3 does get by me, I'm not too worried about it. Pushed it a little bit too hard there out of turn 2. He got on the throttle just a little too early. See how much the 2 pulls away from the 1. Looks like the 2's tend to push pretty hard right now. See if he actually knows how to work pace without wearing out tires, or if that's going to come back to get him. It's the 1's. Can't tell if the 1's trying to save or if the 1's just burned up the stuff a little bit early and doesn't have quite as much as the 2 does. But either way, running inside top 5 ahead of where we started. I'm happy with that to start. Closer to the halfway mark of this race. So we got 15 down, 20 to go this time by. We've actually started pulling away a little bit from the 3 again. 5's maintained a fairly stable gap with us, so in theory he's starting to close on the 3. Overdrive turn 1 there again. I feel like I'm getting a lot better at recognizing when I'm overdriving. Like an overdrive to me is not as far off from the optimal line as it used to be, and I'm recognizing it a lot faster. So still not great in my driving, but I feel like it's noticeable that I'm getting better with it. Fortunately, this weak strength of field is not gonna give you guys as good of a measure of how much it's improved, but I feel like even if it doesn't necessarily always translate to the fastest lap times, I feel like there's tangible improvements I can kind of make note of. So we are starting to pull away from the 3 a little more, close back up on the 1. 2's actually pulled even further away from us, but like I said, it seems like he just really picked up the pace big time, so we'll have to see this last half if that's going to end up hurting him or if he's going to be able to stay out in front.
Lap time was 33.33.
Got 18 laps to go. We approach halfway here on the middle of the backstretch. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. I might be pushing it maybe slightly too much, but I think overall for what I'm capable of, it's pretty much right in line with my game plan. Been a bit of a boring race from the perspective of, you know, not really any cars that we're passing, but it's weaker strength of fields tend to get spread out a little bit more, and you know, this race will kind of see its strategy play out towards the end, overshoot the corner again there. So we'll lose a lot of momentum off the corner. Also leaned on the right front a little more than I needed to by that. Definitely feel the fall off in the car. You know, lap times are about a second to a second and a quarter off now, and I can definitely feel where it's not wanting to rotate quite as well through the corners.
You've just done a 33.
Move the brake bias back a little bit more. Again, still just trying to maintain that consistent feel that I had at the start of the race. 5's catching the 3 big time. Not sure if the 3 pushed a little too hard when he was catching us there, and that's hurt his tires, or if he's backing off now and saving a little bit more, as we're going to have just 15 laps to go this time by. 3 and the 5 should be getting into a battle. You can see the 5's going to start diving low across the start-finish line on him. My gaps to the 1 and the 2 have been pretty consistent the last couple of laps. Not being helped by me overdriving things, but at least kind of sitting with them. So for right now, like I said, it's really like the last 5 to 7 laps is where I'll try to start picking up the pace and hope that I can make up time on them. It's got to stay close enough that I can take advantage of it. 5 gets by the 3. See how quickly the 5 can catch us. Gap's at 2.3. See where it ends up being at the line. I'm trying to improve turn 1 and 2. Get slower sooner, get the car rotated, and then pick the throttle back up instead of losing quite so much time by overdriving the entry. Feel a little bit better with 3 and 4 than I do 1 and 2. This lap should be a bit faster than the previous lap. Gap stays pretty consistent to the 5. The 2 might have pulled away a little bit, but to the 1 it's about the same. Gonna keep working this. Got some lap traffic that we will end up coming up to here in the next few laps, but see if they get out of the way or if they play a factor in anything. I think we're all spread out just enough that they probably shouldn't really hold up anybody too much, but we'll have to see. 5 gains us a little bit that lap.
The lap time was at 33.76.
Depending on how much he's pushing. If he's pushing too hard too early, he may run out of tires by the end of the race. Fall a little bit short, we'll see. Even if I can pick up just one more spot and finish second, I'll be really happy with that. I'd love to get the win, but baby steps is what I gotta focus on instead of trying to chomp all of it off at once. Let's focus on running consistent laps right now. Try to stabilize the gap back to the 5 so that we have a good chance at locking up a 3rd place finish. 18's going to put us in a real bad spot with that line he was taking through 1 and 2. Let's see if he stays low off the corner. If he starts to look high, it's going to affect the line going into 3, unfortunately. So you got a good job getting by him. 1 was able to get by him with even less problems, actually. 18 goes way high. I think he's going to get the wall. So hope he doesn't come off the wall. Alright, able to stay off of him. I didn't want to go out quite as close to the wall for fear of getting hit by him. Cost me ever so slightly to the 5 because of not being able to extend my run off the corner, but better safe than sorry. You have the 20 also to work by here. Probably going into turn 1, I would expect. Unless he really has a problem here through 3 and 4. See if we can come out ahead gaining time on the 1, because we've gained time on the 1 right now, but it's going to be all about how quickly I can get by the 20. Got just 9 laps to go. Overdrive the corner a little bit there. Leaning on that right front just a bit too much. Had to lift ever so slightly to avoid getting into the 20. Try to clear him going into 3.
He's still there. Clear.
Alright, we're able to clear him, no problem. Did come out ahead, only half a second back from the 1, and a little over a second and a half back from the 2, so technically gained time on both of them. And we did technically pull away from the 5 a little bit. That time I entered too low into 1. It's gonna hurt the exit off. Next lap or so, I'll move the brake bias back the last 1% that you get, back to 57%. You can see the 1 and the 2 and the 1 also pulled away a little bit that time, but like I said, I didn't have a very good 1 and 2. So I feel like I inflicted a little bit out upon myself. I think we're gaining on the 1. I don't think the win's gonna happen, but I think it's possible I could gain on the 1 and try to get a second place finish out of this. Yeah, you can see how much time I cost myself that last lap, both between the low entry and then obviously didn't have quite as much momentum down the straightaway as I had to work around the 20, but see, we're about almost a quarter of a second faster than the lap before. Gonna have the 21 up ahead. Got the brake bias back all the way now. Just gonna try to stay close to the 1 here. Just want to stay close enough to him that I can try to get by him in the 20 or the 21 without any problems. One's gonna throw some issues. I'm actually gonna go low yellow line. Try to get mine a little loose there with how I hit the apron, but I don't know, that was a bit aggressive, but I had to take my shot to get by the 1 as cleanly as I could. Or the 21 as clean as I could. Got the 1 on the outside, so he's going to get the run down the back stretch, being on the outside. 2's going to be loving this because the 2 of us are going to lose time to the 2 by battling, but kind of conceded the win and just going after second. See if I can keep working the 1. He's going to keep getting the run on the outside. Trying to give you guys a battle for the rest of the race.
Still there.
Outside line has not typically been favored in this race, but outside line, as always, will get a lot of momentum off of the corner.
He's still there. They're outside.
You see him able to clear us that time off of 2, so I'll sub back up behind him and try to find a way back around him with just 3 laps to go this time by. So you got another good run off the corner, it's just not quite enough to be able to clear him yet.
Still there. Me too. He's still there, keep digging.
Try not to drive it in too deep, because if I drive it in too deep, he's going to be able to get a better run off the corner. Able to clear him that time, hopefully that'll be for good and we can stay in second. Lost a lot of time to the 2 there, but like I said, I was trying to get by the 1 as best as I could. So up to second, see if we can hold it these last 2 laps. Finish ahead of both where I'm supposed to and where I qualified. Take that. It's a pretty good result.
We're on for a podium here.
Just gotta make sure I don't overdrive the corner. You're gonna see the 1 try to drive in pretty deep. It's gonna cause him to lose a little momentum off the corner as long as I don't mess it up. See, we're able to pull about a 10th or so off of turn 2 down the backstretch. Dude did a great job picking up the pace at the right time. He knew how to run it without falling off too bad, so a lot of credit to him. Good job getting the white flag this time by. The 5 falls back even further, so I really feel like we were at a minimum a 3rd place car. And, you know, whether you can make an argument that the 5 was better than the 1, or we were better than both of them, you know, like I said, either a 2nd or 3rd place car is what I felt like, so. Overall, not a great strength of field, so, you know, could have been a little bit further back had I been running against tougher competition as a whole, but feeling like I'm improving in these. Mile and a half's trying to do a little better, and 2nd place finish, good way to show that. But keep it clean, keep it off people.
Podium finish, nice one.
We'll see what the tires look like when we get off the track. Just kind of let the car roll, cool down. Yeah, it feels good to to bring home a second. Like I said, I mean, sometimes these don't mean as much to me as, you know, a worse finish, but in a much stronger field. But feels good to finally kind of put everything into action and have a pretty clean race from start to finish. So take a look at tires, 76, 88. So didn't do quite as good a job as I wanted to driving off the right rear, but I know those last few laps I was leaning on the right front pretty heavily, taking that inside line and taking a, you know, a tighter radius into the corners, trying to stay off of the one but work around the inside of them. So that's where you're going to see that extra right front wear. And I think, you know, there's a couple times that I overdrove the corner that was certainly going to add to that as well, but I could deal with that wear percentage. Let's take a look at the incidents in the race. Don't think there should be too many, so get the camera drop down here a little bit and then go take a look at everything. Alright, we got the 16, gets way loose off of turn 2. That was on lap 1 on cold tires. Easy to do. He gets the inside wall. Quite a bit of impact there to the left front. Yeah, if you got on the throttle too hard on the cold tires, it certainly would spin around quite easily off of both 2 and 4, so not unexpected. 14 just enters way high and drills the outside wall and gets glued to it. I can't say I've really seen many people run that line. Here's the 9. This was the issue he had that we saw at our rear view mirror. Let's back this up and see if he got on it a little hard or if something else happened. So he's going to start getting pressure from the 3 behind. I think he tried to pick up the throttle a little too early. That's where he gets loose and then gets on the apron, tries to overcorrect it, and then he's just seesawing the wheel back and forth. Does a good job keeping the brakes locked down low, keep it off of the racing line. Everybody's able to clear him, so respectful by him for that. 14 riding the wall. 14 riding the wall. Alright, here's what's going to happen to the 20. Oh, the 5 just cuts down and drills the back of him, so not even the 20's fault there at all. I don't know what the 5 was doing there. Let's watch that. That was... Wow, that was pretty aggressive. So he's getting a good run off of the corner. He's going to try to cut... I don't even know, like, I don't know if he didn't think he was closing quite that quick, because, like, I would have thought he would have either tried to go high, or at that point when he... I don't know, he might have made the decision. I think he might have been expecting the 20 to come down closer to this area, you know, kind of more similar to what I was running, and the 20 was really...
That was all on you there, 6.
Looking more like he was going to commit to this first seam. And he guessed a little too late and just, I don't know, maybe he thought he had enough of a gap to be able to cut underneath him and get down to the yellow line, but he did not, and he just came straight across the rear bumper of the 20 and sent him around. So I feel bad for the 20 because that is not his fault at all. And that's him on pit road. 3 behind us is going to blink. Okay, that was the blink we saw. 9's going to get the wall out of turn 2. Pick up the throttle a little too early. He's going to do the same thing out of turn 4. Yep, picked up the throttle a little too early. Tires are probably cold at that point, or worn at that point. 15 with a bit of a blink. 3 wide here going into turn 1's not going to work when the... I don't know, because the 6 commented, so that was all on the 8. I think the 6 expected the 8 to go a little bit higher and kind of go more towards the wall, but really, I think the 8's kind of holding his line. Not the expected line, because obviously most people tend to drift out. You know, they come out to the wall a little bit more than what the 8 did. The 8 was basically holding a straight line with the seam, and the 6, I don't think, expected that, and then just drove up into him, which sends the 8 up into the wall. I don't know. It's kind of a racing deal, in my opinion. I mean, if I had to assign blame, I think I actually assign more blame to the 6 than I do to the 8, but I can see how you would call that a no-fault racing incident. 15. Blinks. 8. Blinks. 18. Gets tagged by the 20. Yeah. Another similar deal. Although the 20 just swung up quite a bit more that time. So let's take a look from the 20's perspective. Get this. There we go. We'll rewind this just a little bit. So the 18's running way high. 20's running that first team. He's coming up, and he just, I don't know. He just kind of turns right. So while he didn't have fault in the first one, I'm going to blame him for that one. 6 is going to get turn 2 wall coming out. Yep. 8's going to blink. 11's netcode a little bit with the 17. It's looking like he was cutting down on him a bit. 9's going to come to the bottom of the track and get tight off of 2. Get the wall. I don't know what happened there. That's weird. 19. I don't know what it's doing now. Looks like it's trying to call it stuff that's not actually incidents. I think that's basically going to be it. Yeah, so, yeah, let's take a look at the results. I think it was kind of an interesting split there with what everybody had. But again, let's see, for whatever reason this is not showing race results. I don't really know why. That's really weird. Everybody should be done. So, that is interesting. Not sure why we're not seeing them. Let's see here. All right, should be able to pull them out now. Sorry about that. Yeah, so single or double split. We were in the top split, 1698, pretty weak strength of field. Managed to gain 0.1 on the safety rating, so up to 3.37. Trying to work my way back up to see if I can get to 4.0 before the end of the season and get up to the A since able to pick up 55 in iRating, which is nice. So just over 27.25. Slowly approaching what was my highest point, which again, is, not very high compared to a lot of people, but we're getting there. Fast lap was about 0.4 off of the 2. Certainly not the fastest one on the track at all, as you can see, the 498. Looks like 498 is going to be the fastest lap. Some other guys running lower 5s, but this is one where I don't like to light up the fastest lap. I like to have, the speed on the back end of the run. So we weren't terribly far off. I think had we gotten by some of the lap traffic and maybe pushed just a little bit sooner, might have been able to get a little bit closer to the 2. And obviously that battle with the 1 there towards the end kind of hurt it, but not too much of a big deal that way. So overall, relatively low incident count. But yeah, certainly a lot of fun. Good race, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. So feel free to leave your feedback on both the driving, if you guys do something different, how you run the track, any of the incidents that you see that we went over, if you disagree with me. Otherwise, just love to hear from you guys, and I look forward to getting more races out soon. So until the next one, I hope all your laps are fast, your races are clean, and your finishes are good. Thanks for watching.